Hello. So far, this is what we have done. We got this display. We have created this button frame with the black background, so we can differentiate it. So what we will do in this video, we will try to now pack buttons into this. We will start inserting button into this. So let's see how that's done. I will just uncomment this. So first of all, you have to define a button, take enter button, and that you do using this way, take enter dot button. So this will create this X gate button. Then, of course, you have to define in which frame you want this button. As we have already created a button frame, and we will pass this. So we will say in the button frame we want this X gate button. Then we will give the font for this button and the background color for this buttons. So this is what we have defined previously, buttons and this button font. You can vary this definitely as per your choice. And now text is what should be displayed on the button. So when the button is actually being inserted into the frame, what should be displayed on it? So I have chosen I have kept X because that's what represents the X gate. And after we have defined all these three buttons, so here we are defining the first row of the buttons in our visualizer. So after we have defined the buttons, it's important to uh, insert them into the frame, and for that we will be using the grid command. As I previously told you, there are two commands for it, dot pack and dot grid, that we can use. So here if I just comment it out, you will notice that nothing would happen. Let me run this again. You can see, though we have defined the buttons here, nothing is visible over here, right? Let me close this again. And, okay, so now I will uncomment this. So now dot grid method, as I previously told you, uses the row and column format. So the very first place, which is empty, will be considered as origin, like 0 comma 0 was 0th row, 0th column. And then we can vary the values for row and column, and we can insert it that way. So you can see here that for all these three buttons I have given the same number for row, so they are in the same row and different columns. This I paddings, these are just internal paddings that you can give the way you like. These are the internal paddings in the buttons in the X direction. We also I pad Y, but I did not give that. These are the external paddings, pad Y. And notice this important parameter here, sticky is equal to E. So here this E stands for east. So sticky actually makes your button stick to one of the sides. So let me just do this. Let me just remove this and see what happens if I just run it now. Looking fine, but okay, we have see where we are X, Y, Z. Nothing will happen right now because we need to give a few functions for buttons to display and all, but we will need some background math, Python for understanding that, and I will be covering that in one of the future videos soon, maybe next one. So you can see we have our buttons here, and applying sticky won't be a big issue here because this is the first row. So first row takes the entire place. So it's okay if you don't apply here, but I just wanted to show you the command. Sticky actually sticks the particular button into that direction. So it just helps you expand it. Maybe I can show you in one of the future uh, buttons that we will insert. Let me just change the row now. Let me show you if I change the row to y of y get to row number 1. Let me show you what happens. As you can see here, the row has shifted here, row number 1 and column number 1. So this if I apply row number 1 and column number 0, it will be beneath here. But since I applied row number 1 and the column number 1 2 is lying in the middle here. So that's one of the, and that's why I actually like the grid method. It gives you more control. uh, okay, I'll put it now. Let me just bring it back to first row. Now similarly, one by one, I can just insert all the buttons here. So let me just copy it from the main file. These are all the buttons that we have seen so far, and you can just copy paste it and just change the, like, I will explain you this. So we have all the buttons now. See, this is command attribute, and just omit it for now. Just select this, and if you see, all the command here are selected. So if you press Control Alt L, it not work. Control Shift L, yeah. And if you press back, we have all the cursors simultaneously working. And if I control this, maybe, yeah, I can control all of it now, right? Control Z. Uh, Let me keep this for right now because this is an important command. So this actually shows our button which command they are supposed to follow. As of now, this doesn't make sense because we have not defined any functions that it can work with. So this is the second row of buttons. Another shortcut is if you use Control Alt and down arrow key, you can have again this multi-line cursor, and see, I can just do this. The same thing goes with this one. Let me just clear this so I can just show you the our completely full uh, visualizer. Otherwise, when I run it will give me error that this is not defined, that is not defined at all. Command visualize. And I think we should be good to go. As you can see here, for each row, I've just changed the row number, increased the row number, and keep varying the column number as 0, 1. Now, sticky is just used, as I told you, to stick your button to one of the directions. west or east or north. North means up, south means down, west means to the left, and east means to the right of the frame, right in the frame. One of the another important things that I want to show you is the column span. So column span is the number of rows that a button can use. So previously we saw that uh, it was just changing its one row one by one, right? So if you want, you can make a button use two rows. So we had the buttons X, Y, and Z. So if I had changed the row of the button Y to 1. So if I wanted, I could have given it a column span 3, and it would be spanning the entire row. So that's one thing that I want to tell you. Let me show you if I can uh, just do this. And so we will again only have this one. Again, look, I will just do what I had done previously, and now I will give column span 3, and I will be able to see it what this column span means. Okay, look here. Now that's why sticky comes into the picture, because it has completely come here, and the Z has shifted here because it was empty this side. So now let me clear this, close this, and give sticky equal to east. Sticky equal to east. It doesn't work yet. Okay, because we don't have anything here. This is the max thing that we have. We don't have another column here at all. So let me close this again, and column span, and let me give sticky to this. Then my PU will be able to see the change. Just play a little with it. Now see, here it has occupied the entire thing here, the entire column, right? It did not work with that because it was itself the entire column. It was the biggest button, but that was not the case with Y. So when I gave it this sticky west to east, it took the space in the entire column from west, that is from left to right, the complete space. If you can just go back into the video, you will be able to see what was the difference. Again, if you're not clear with it, if you have recognized the difference, it's all good and fine. So let me close this, and I will undo all my steps. So column span did not work properly, I guess because of that issue of the row and column. But let me show you again. And there we go, everything packed. You can see here that about button is going down little, so we can change the size of this main window, or we can decrease the padding here of this column. Let me uh, increase the height of here we have maybe 20. I'll run it again. mm, no, we need some more, I guess. What about 40? We have just crossed the required size. Little adjustment will take time. 430 maybe. Almost good. Just one. I think this would be the final one. Yeah, this looks good. Maybe you can reduce to one. You can reduce a little one. Maybe I think this looks good. So you can see here we have this clear button that spans over this entire three columns. So if I just show you for the clear button, it's defined here. You can see column span equal to 3, stick equal to western. Let me just keep column span equal to 2 and let's see what happens then. I have not closed it. So saw that it was taking the entire three columns, and now I will decrease the column span. Let's see what happens now. I just wanted to show you what column span actually means. See, it has just reduced to two columns. These two columns, it has restricted itself to here, up to the two columns, because I've reduced the column span. So that's what column span means. You can use these while you start working on your layout, and I really encourage you to come up with a different layout than mine. Plan your layout on your paper first. Think of all the buttons. If you want other buttons, you can check out the qiskit.org textbook. Maybe you can get some ideas from the official documentation also that they have. And the two things that you can use is in this dot grid method for adjusting your layout is this column span. We also have a row span that I think I've used for the header margin. I should be explaining with this while keeping the visualizer with me. So you can see here this header mark gate spans for two rows and one column and two rows it's taking. So similar to column span, we also have row span. So you can give row span equal to 2. By default, it's just 1. So when you give it to for 2, it will take 2 rows. That's what I've done for header mark gate. And now for clear, I have not changed the span. Uh, that's just one thing. So I know I have not I have not gone line by line with this button packing, but I think you should try it by yourself so you can get some idea. I already showed you how I packed the first three buttons. If you get stuck somewhere, try to search online, your get your errors, or if solutions to your problems or whatever you're facing, if any you face. But I really encourage you to come up with a different layout than mine, so that it will help you in planning, like how to go ahead. I think that's it for this video. So in this video, we have our layout. Spend some time, try to come up with a different layout, maybe the same one that I have. Try to code by yourself. I don't. The only thing I have not gone step by step with all the buttons because they are just set. Like you just define a button. There are only two steps, three maybe, to define a button using a button here. Then you insert that button using this dot grid method, and there you define the row number and the column number. Then you can define column span for how many columns you want to span that button. A row span if you want, for how many rows it should span. And sticky is another thing that will stick the button to those particular in those particular directions of the column that it has the button is in. So these are the few elements that you should keep in mind while you are working with your layout. I think that will be enough. Just remember to give background color, give font to the button, the frame which it is you want your button to be in, and the text which should be displayed over the button. And that's it, I think. That will be just fine. Maybe you can watch the video again. You have the code here in front of you. You can just take a little look at it. See, in header mart, I've used sticky WENS. So that is west, east, north, and south. So in all the directions, I've just stick it. So it will take complete place. Uh, Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to define functions that will be executed by these buttons. So far we just have buttons here. You can see we just have buttons, but they don't do anything. Yeah, I can click it, but these buttons don't do anything. So to make them do some task, we need to define functions that will guide these buttons on what they are supposed to do. So let me just clear button, column span 3. There we go. So again, the clear button is back, and so we this is the layout is complete now. It looks good. So let's see. In next video, I will give, and in even then next video, in the next two videos, we will talk about some Python basic things that you need to know. List, set, dictionary, order functions, what is anonymous function, lambda, and what are global variables, local variables. We will be talking about such concepts. So, and it will be required. Some of the concepts are just the basic Python that you need to know, and the other things will be some of the things that we will be requiring to move ahead. So I hope you like this video. It's a longer one, but it's one of the most important part that will I think test your creativity if you try to come up with a different layout, and I really hope you do that. So I'll see you in the next video when we will talk about some Python there. Thank you.